I wasn't ready.
I didn't think you were gonna laugh that hard at that one.
Okay.
Okay, who wants to go first with their story of the day?
I don't have necessarily a story, but I'd like to tell a little thing about something I really enjoy.
All right.
It's these things called anti jokes. I don't know if you've heard of them, Sam.
Yeah, no, they're like I don't know how to explain them, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
They're jokes that are like because jokes follow a certain formula. There's comedy 101 with your pal Dexter Pepper.
Yeah, setup and
Um,
punchline.
yeah, there's setup and punchline. Um, but anti jokes are they're not jokes. They are setups
With
without a
no punchline.
punchline. Yeah. But they're still funny somehow. And some of my favorite ones are really lengthy piece of shit jokes. I won't go through too many if I go through any at all, but I am gonna give a few examples of like some of my favorite short anti jokes. One of which is Yo mama is so fat we are very concerned for her health.
Yeah, I've heard that one. You want to hear one I heard in a joke book as a kid?
Yeah, go for it.
What did Tarzan say when he saw the elephants running over the hill?
I don't know. What did Tarzan say?
Here come the elephants running over the hill.
Nice. What's brown and sticky?
A stick.
Oh shit, you're right. What's red and smells like blue paint?
Red paint. Okay,
Yep.
some of these are kind of jokes. They've got more of a punchline to them.
Okay, all right. What's the difference between a duck and a bicycle?
I don't know.
One of them's a duck. What's green and has wheels?
Oh man, I don't know.
Grass. I lied about the wheels.
That's a really bad one. Okay, can I tell you about this story now? Cause I read it while I was on set today, and it's
Okay,
so fucking stupid and so fucking ridiculous that I literally died laughing. Like,
hold on.
okay, you know how sometimes the internet goes crazy over little things?
Okay, sure.
Actually, wait, there's
Yeah.
two stories we have to talk about on the topic of little things.
Okay, before we talk about the stories, I want to tell you my favorite anti joke.
All right.
It's really good. Okay. I want you to brace yourself, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to mentally prepare yourself for this joke. Are you ready?
Ready, Kimosabi.
Okay, all right. So a man walks into a bar, and the bar is almost completely empty. There's a bartender and one man sitting at a table. Have I told you this joke already, Sam?
I don't think you have.
Okay. The man sitting alone at the table looks quite peculiar because, under closer inspection and realizing that it wasn't just the lighting in the bar, the man realizes that the man sitting at the table has a big orange head. Is this ringing any
Okay.
bells? No? Okay, alright. So the man walking in goes over to the bartender and, in very hushed tone, says, "Hey, what's up with the man at in the corner table with the big orange head?" The bartender says, "I don't know. He walked in and hasn't told me anything about it. Maybe if you buy him a drink, he'll tell you about what happened." The man says, "Okay." He buys a couple drinks and heads over to the table and he says, "Hey partner, mind telling me your story?" And the man with the big orange head sighs, takes the drink, and says, "Sure, I'll tell you my story," which is as follows. I was walking on the beach one day when I stubbed my toe on something in the sand. I picked it up, and it seemed to be a strange metal ornament of some kind. As I was brushing the sand off, a magical creature appeared from the spout. It was a magical lamp, and I had just summoned a genie who promised me 3 wishes. The genie asked, "What is your first wish?" And I thought about it for a second. And then I asked him, "My first wish, O magical genie, is to be the most wealthy man alive." And the genie snapped his fingers, and just like that, there were piles and piles of gold pieces. I was covered head to toe in jewelry. I was given a scepter of magical power in my hand. I was the most wealthy person on planet Earth. The genie then asks, says, "I have granted your wish." And then asks, "What is your next wish, master?" And the man ponders for a second, and then says, "For my second wish, I've decided I want to be married to the most beautiful woman on planet Earth."
Rosie O'Donnell.
And the genie snapped his fingers, and just like that, the sea parted, and out from it was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen.
Rosie O'Donnell.
And the genie married us there on that beach. The man with the big orange head then stops telling his tale for a second. He sits back and sighs. The man who bought him a drink says, What's wrong? Are you all right?" And the man with the big orange head replies, "Well, you see, here's where I think I may have messed up." The man with the big orange head then continues, or rather, the man who bought him the drink then asks, "Why? How'd you mess up? What did you wish for?" The man with the big orange head says, "Well, for my last wish, I wish that I had a big orange head."
Okay, is that a penis joke, or is that literally like the antithesis of humor?
No, that's it. He wished he had a big orange head, and he got a big orange head. That's the joke. I told you it's an anti-joke.
That's a good joke. I like that joke. That's really stupid. Oh man.
I made like a Rage comic about it when Rage comics were still a thing.
Oh man, those are classic. Okay, I gotta tell you about a couple really fucking stupid stories I've heard over the past couple of days.
Okay, go.
Okay,
Go.
so I'm just gonna read you the headline for this one. You're gonna think it's fake, but it's not, and it's one of several articles
Okay.
about the exact same topic.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Nintendo fans lose it over Luigi's bulge.
Are they
So
talking
let me
about his
provide a
nose?
little context. No, not his nose.
What are they talking about then?
Okay, so what happened is there's a Mario Tennis game that's coming out on the Switch next year, or maybe this year. I don't even know.
I saw it. It's supposed to be this year.
Okay. Anyways, they posted a picture of Luigi playing tennis on their official account or whatever, right?
Right.
Pretty normal so far, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But in the picture, he's wearing tennis shorts, right?
Yeah.
The tennis shorts are pretty tight on him.
Okay.
And there's a bulge that, for whatever reason, people have decided is apparently Luigi's penis.
I am Googling this right now. Keep talking.
It gets weirder, okay? So some guy, I don't know his name and I don't want to know his name. Some guy decided to look up... Sorry. Some guy decided to look up the average size of a tennis racket, yes?
Yeah.
And looking at the average size of a tennis racket and the size of Luigi's bulge and the relation to the size of Luigi's bulge and the size of the tennis racket in the picture, this person has decided to determine that Luigi's penis is approximately 3.7 inches long when it's soft.
I found the article you're talking about.
This is real. No, this is totally real.
See, like,
They have determined that Luigi
I
has a 3.7-inch penis when soft.
I see, like, I'm looking at the pictures. Oh fuck! I didn't mean to hit my mic. I'm looking at the pictures, and it doesn't even seem like that significant of a bulge.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know
it
how
seems
they
like people are
determined where
retarded.
the penis started and ended in that picture.
Yeah, right. Like what? Hold on. There's a picture with a tweet here, uh, and the tweet says it's by at of I don't even know how to say this. EPH Jacques Jacques.
I
Um,
see.
and they said, and as we all know, the Mario Brothers are growers, not showers.
Now let me tell you my perspective on this because this actually led to a really embarrassing but really funny story. So
Okay.
I found this article yesterday while I was on set, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going on my phone and I take a look through it because I can't believe my eyes either. I'm trying to figure out if
Right.
this is a parody or not. And while that's happening, the production designer calls me over and is like, "Hey, we need to use a phone as a prop for the actor. Can we borrow your phone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, sure, whatever, go for it, not an issue."
Right.
So they take my phone, give it to the actor. He opens it up, and the first thing he sees is just a close-up picture of Luigi's bulge because I forgot to change the tab. So needless to say, he was very confused.
I bet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't think my friends
I
are ever
don't
gonna let me live that one down.
I don't understand though, cuz it doesn't even seem like that big of a bulge.
You know what? That's people. They take things that don't even matter and just make a huge deal out of them.
Like it just
Point.
seems like a shadow.
I don't know.
Like
Case in point,
just how
though, can we
short you
get to our
were.
next? Can we get to our next story? Because this is the one. I think this one's actually twice as funny as the first one.
Hold on. I still need to. I still need an excuse to look at pictures of Luigi's crotch area for like 4
Stop.
seconds. Okay, yeah,
Wait.
anyways,
Okay,
continue.
never mind. That question's irrelevant. Anyways, okay. Do you know Charlie Rose?
No. Who is he?
He used
Or
to
she?
be he used to be a talk show host in like the 80s, the 90s, I'm not even sure. But he's done some really interesting
Okay.
interviews. A lot of them are on YouTube. He's done ones with Steve Jobs, the guys that made South Park. He's done
Right.
some really he's a really good interviewer. But
Uh-huh.
earlier in the year during the whole Me Too scandal, he was one of the people they got
Yeah.
accused by a bunch of. Um he had to deal with a lot of accusations, right? So he got
Right.
fired from his job and hasn't been heard of for months, right?
Oh no.
Then
Getting
all of a
fired
sudden,
sucks.
yesterday at around noon, a tweet comes out from the official Charlie Rose Twitter account,
Uh-huh.
and everybody starts going ape shit. Like,
Oh.
it came out, what, 36 hours ago, and already it has over 700 comments on it.
Ooh. 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 It must have been a pretty fucking nasty tweet or something.
Do you want to know what the tweet was? This is the part that boggles
Yes,
my mind.
please. Tell me.
You are gonna die. You are literally gonna die.
I'm on the
Mentally
edge
prepare
of my
yourself for
seat.
this. Mentally prepare yourself for this.
Okay, I just burped.
I can't even tell you because I know you're gonna die laughing. The tweet he posted is literally
Okay.
it's literally just the letter H. It's literally just the letter H. No context, no nothing. It's literally just the letter H.
He like butt dialed the tweet.
Several weeks of exile, he comes back and he writes
Read
H.
some of the fucking comments. Who did this? What? What the fuck?
The first comment that's posted in this article. Charlie, welcome back. Your absence has left an intellectual void not only in my life, but that of many of your viewers.
Okay.
All he put was the letter H. Where's the journalism?
Yeah, it took me a minute. Welcome back. We missed you. It's just a fucking H. What? Is it a capital H or is it a lowercase
It's
H?
capital
It's
H.
important, Sam. Okay, maybe he's signaling a helicopter to land on his phone.
The only thing I can think of is this conspiracy looking at this one comment. Because Charlie Rose put H, and this one man commented, is for harassment.
I wasn't ready.
I didn't think you were gonna laugh that hard at that one. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have any words, dude. What has become of this world?
Oh man, fucking all right. As a good final question, unless you have any more stories.
Well, we can get to the main topic in a second, but I don't have any more stories to share with you.
Okay. As a main question, uh, would you ever want to move to Mars to colonize Mars? Because you just can't take this fucking planet anymore.
Interviewing an astronaut right before he leaves. What is your inspiration for leaving the Earth to colonize a new planet? M.
M is for Mars.
M is for harassment.
M is for masculinity. Toxic masculinity. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Okay, but the reason I asked that, Sam, is because there is this actual thing. I think it's called Mars One.
Isn't that the Elon Musk thing?
It might be. But I saw this thing a really long ass fucking time ago where people could send in video like interviews of them sort of saying like who they are, what their favorite color is, what their sense of humor is like, what their personality is, just general shit like that. Like, hey, I'm a fucking blah blah blah. I really like going to movies. I really like these kinds of movies. Because the corporation was trying to gather a select group of people who had compatible personalities to send to fucking Mars.
Look, dude, these guys both just put the letter H in their application. They're perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, though, I was genuinely thinking about it earlier today. Like, man, you know, maybe going to Mars wouldn't be so fucking bad. Fuck.
H. Okay. In all seriousness, though, I do want to get to the main topic of the day, because I do feel...
Okay.
Okay. Something most people don't know about me, or they just get bored when I talk about it, is, I'm actually... Well, I'm not an official analyst. I don't do it for a living, but I follow box office religiously.
Yes, you've told me.
And I mean, at the end of the day, what does it matter? It's the film industry. They make money, they lose money. But it is fascinating.
Yes.
So, Dexter, do you have any questions about how movies make money that you want explained?
How about this? I'm gonna tell you how I think they go about making money, and then you can tell me I'm wrong.
All right.
All right. So, I think that the entire process works a little something like this. You have a dude at a conference with a whole bunch of other dudes, and all of those dudes are they're talking about movies, and they're like, "Oh man, I really liked Weekend at Bernie's. That was a good movie." And then you have another guy who's like,
What's so fucking funny?
I don't know. Okay, fuck. You just have a big old conference of people talking about movies, and you have some people like, oh man, Interstellar was great. Oh yeah, Rogue One actually, I don't fucking know about Rogue One. I didn't see Rogue One. And then they're all like, oh dude, you didn't fucking see Rogue One, and it's like, yeah, no, I didn't see Rogue One, and it's like, oh, do you want to know why you didn't see Rogue One? It's like, why? It's because we haven't fucking made it yet. Oh shit, here's the pitch for Rogue One, motherfucker. And then the first dude slams down a script on the table, and then everybody he only brought one script, so everybody collectively holds that one script and like huddles around it and starts reading it. And then there's a whole bunch of fuss because like one guy is super fast at reading, so he flips the page, and everybody's like, "Fucking no, dude, go back." Um, but they read the script for Rogue One, and then the big the guy who like slammed the script down, he's like standing in like a power pose over them, like, you guys fucking like it or what? And they're like, yeah, dude, this movie is pretty good. I may have to like refine it a bit, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. Then what happens is they spend a whole lot of fucking money, like at least $2 on advertising. On advertising the movie that they haven't made yet, uh, as well as making props and hiring people to do special effects. And then they hire more writers. They first of all, they fire the first guy who pitched the idea because he's not needed anymore. Then they hire new writers to change his idea and make it worse. I mean, better. They make it better. And then they then refine the script, sometimes as the movie's being shot, and then they create what is known as a masterpiece, also known as a movie. They create the movie after spending a fuck ton of money advertising and hiring people and firing people. You have to make money to spend money. I mean, you have to spend money to make money, Sam. And sometimes you also need to spend resources, like people. You need to fire them out of a cannon from your company into the garbage can where they belong, in order to hire better people after they have been of use to you.
You're closer than you think.
Okay, let me finish. So, they then make the movie after directing it and shooting it, and then it premieres in a movie theater, a behind the scenes premiere, before anybody can be let in, where all the staff of the theater can watch it if they want to, because they actually get it like way before it actually like airs in the theater for the public to see, and then the public watches Rogue One, and they're like, wow, this movie was, insert opinion about Rogue One here. And then everybody's like, yeah, it was great. And then all of that money then goes to all of the people who are working on things, and then there's a profit that builds on top of that. Am I close?
Yeah, you're pretty close. Here's to my knowledge how it actually goes down. Disney's like, okay, we own this $7 billion franchise. Let's do something with it. Now, we don't want to fuck up the main series because we've already got that going. Let's do a side thing where we can just bring in our own people and like do a story. So, who are we going to get to make this? Well, there's that guy. He did that Godzilla movie, and before that he did that other movie that like some really snooty guy really liked. So let's get him in here and be like, okay, you can make a movie, any movie you want. It's just gotta be set in Star Wars. So he's like, okay, I want to tell a story that the audience already knows because familiarity, yeah. And they're like, okay, we'll give you $200 million because we have $200 million, just throw at the screen. So he's like, okay. Puts out a script. It probably gets rewritten several times. Anyway, so they're like, okay, dude, you've done one blockbuster. You haven't really shown your strengths. Most people kind of hated Godzilla. But, okay, we're going to give you $200 million on one condition. It's got to have a lady, and it's got to have a bunch of dudes that aren't white. Because otherwise, there's people out there gonna get mad at us. And the director, himself being a white dude, the irony is like, okay, sounds good. So the movie gets made, it's edited, it's all ready to go. They're like, woo! That's good because we set up the release date before we even finish the script. It's good to know we're on time. So then, they take it to some mall in California, and they bring together maybe 50 or 100 just random people who are bored at the mall and have 3 hours to kill. And they're like, okay, you're going to decide what changes in the movie, whether it's good or not. The fate of this entire $200 million investment is in the hands of you bored, lazy, mall-hanging fucks. And so they're like, okay, I'll watch a free movie. So they watch it, and they're like, I like this scene, I don't like that scene, I like this part, I don't like that part. So then the producer's like, okay, this very specific group of people who may or may not be our target audience didn't like this 40 minutes of the movie. So, you're going to remake it, and you're going to make it more similar to what we did last year. Because people seem to like that. So I want you to take, like, these 7 or 8 scenes and just remake them to be super similar to The Force Awakens. But we already did that. That's not my vision. Yeah, but, like, these specific 50 people really wanted that to be more like The Force Awakens. So, like, here's another 20, 30, 50 million dollars. Redo those scenes. Fuck. Okay. Fine. This isn't my vision anymore, but fuck it. Okay.
Alright.
Then the marketing kicks in. And you got trailers, posters, TV spots, and everything. And so you've got this movie, over $100 million initially into the movie. Probably another $100 million to get the film reshot, to get the film through FX and everything. And effects is everything. Right. I once spoke to a guy, I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name or not, but I once spoke to a guy who's done visual effects on basically every MCU movie in the last 3 or 4 years. He's been a supervisor, like one of the main top artists, like he controls the other artists, right? And I straight up asked him, why is something like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 going to cost $200 million to make when it's just people talking and jumping and some cartoons? And he said the issue is directors want, I don't know, what's an effect from a recent movie you can think of? I'm trying to think. I've got a really shitty example. Okay. Leia flying back into the ship in The Last Jedi.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, chances are, because of the director and wanting variety and wanting to be able to change things on the fly, he probably contacted the visual effects house who's in charge of that scene with Leia flying back in the ship. And he was like, okay, I want you to make it this way, that way, and also maybe try it this way, because maybe I'll like that too. So instead of the visual effects budget going to getting this shot done that they planned out in pre-production, this is how we want it, it's, we're going to make this shot 3 times. So the visual effects teams are all basically making the entire movie 3 times, which means that the budget for the CGI with these blockbusters is probably 3 times what it needs to be if they just spent an extra week planning with the director.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars are wasted each year by the studios because of that. But, yeah, so that all gets fixed. The movie finally comes out, and its release date that had been announced 2 or 3 years beforehand. And, I'm just gonna look up the numbers for Rogue One. Because here's the thing.
Okay.
When they say, oh, a movie made this much money, that's not profit. Not all of it goes to the studio. So, Rogue One, they say the movie cost $200 million. That's the estimate. Now, I'm going to go to Deadline. And for anybody that wants more information on this, Deadline has really specific examples on blockbusters in recent years. They've got specifics on how much the movie made, how much the movie kept, how much is spent on marketing, how much is spent on actors. So I'm going to look that up for Rogue One right now. And you guys can do that too easily. According to Deadline, Rogue One was the third most profitable movie of last year. So, the cost to make the film was 200 million. Now, guess how much. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to get at. You know how you said, the workers get to watch the movie 3 days before or whatever because the print gets to the movie theater? That's actually totally not true.
Oh, shit.
What happens is, that used to be probably the case. But nowadays, the files are sent digitally. Huge files that probably cost, they're probably several terabytes. Which means it costs actual large amounts of money to get the file sent to a projector in a theater. And a lot of times the studio will lock the film. Like the file won't be accessible until the day they want to release it.
Oh.
But anyways, so that's the print's cost, and then on top of that you have the marketing cost. Now, how much money do you think it takes to print out, to send files, and to market a film like Rogue One?
How much money? Hold on, I'm gonna need to repeat that question over to you to make sure I understand it. How much money does it cost to send that much information in files like Rogue One to every single theater that it's going to air at?
As well as the marketing costs.
Shit. Gonna say like at least like 90 million.
Rogue One was 160 million for print and advertising around the world.
I wasn't super far off.
No, that's Rogue One. That's like one of the biggest movies of the year. That's actually, honestly, that's probably the biggest print and ads budget I've ever seen for a movie. So 160 is the high point. Usually it's smaller. Like Marvel movies, I think, are 120, 130, something around there. But yeah, so the movie didn't cost 200 million to get out into the theater. More like 360 million. And that doesn't include the fact that the key talent, like the actors, the actual name actors, that's another $35 million in wages you're paying them.
Oh, shit. That's a lot of money.
So just that alone, when you don't even include home entertainment costs and a bunch of bullshit that like doesn't even matter, just the main costs alone to get the movie to theaters, you're looking at close to 400 million.
Oh my fucking god!
Now here's the good news. For something like Rogue One made over $1 billion worldwide.
Okay. All right.
So if the film made $1 billion in theaters and it cost about 400 million to put into theaters, how much do you think profit they're making?
Theoretically, they should be making like 600 million. Or wait, it was 1 billion, right? Just 1 billion? Okay, then in theory, they should be making 600 million, right?
The actual number of profit is probably something closer to 50 million.
Okay.
50. Probably about $50 million in profit.
Yeah, no, I heard you, but why is that?
Well, the issue is that the studios, they don't get all the money that's made in the theater. The theater needs to keep a cut. So in North America, the cut that the theater keeps is usually about 50%. So they split it 50-50, which is pretty fair. But the issue is with foreign money, that's going to be subject to taxes or other issues. And so the studio's only keeping about 40% of that. And then China just has all these strict tax rules and shit. And so, you know how everybody's talking about China's the big new thing for blockbusters. Blockbusters need to be big in China, yada, yada, yada. They say that China's really important for blockbusters. But a dollar made in China is half as valuable to the studio as a dollar made in North America. Now,
yeah, I don't get it.
To be fair, there's other revenue that comes in, merchandising, DVDs, VHS tapes and stuff. So people talk about what is an easy spitball math way to figure out if a movie turned a profit or not. because nobody wants to, we just spent, what, 20 minutes getting into the
Actually do
specifics?
the math.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the usual adage that they'll tell you, the adage they'll tell you, is if a movie doubles its budget worldwide, it's made its money back. And there's a guy named Stephen Fellows, I want to say, in the UK who actually tested this a while back. And he found that the majority of movies actually followed this pattern. So if you really want to be lazy, that's how you can determine whether or not a movie made a profit or not. However, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. The way I do it, personally, and I just came up with this the other day. I've been trying to figure out in my head what the smartest way to determine these things are. I'd say that the way to do it, to calculate profit, to find out how much a movie made or how much a movie lost, is you cut the worldwide box office in half, and then you subtract the budget, and I feel like that probably gives you a pretty good number.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Because it's just 50% from the tickets, and then you subtract it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like if you do the math according to my formula, Rogue One made a little over $300 million profit. And according to Deadline, the profit made out to be $319 million. So I'm pretty dead on with that estimation.
Okay.
So with that being said, we can look at any movie. You can go on Box Office Mojo, which is a great website, and look at any movie now and determine how much it made in profit. Like, for example, you know how everybody was talking about the Avengers 2 being like a total bomb when it came out a couple years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
Well, the truth is, it didn't make that much less than the first Avengers movie, but it cost $30 million more. And it was a huge drop domestically. So,
I see.
It might have actually made less money than the formula allows. But if you do, I'm just going to do the formula quick math in my head. Quick math. The first Avengers made over $500 million in profit. The Avengers movie made about... It was a much smaller margin. It was about $450 million. Avengers Age of Ultron probably made about $80 million less in profit, which isn't that big of a deal when you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars you're making on a regular basis. And I mean, you look at Black Panther, already just doing the math for that, already $400 million profit. Black Panther has been huge. It's going to be bigger than Avengers, bigger than The Last Jedi. They're saying it might end up being like the third biggest movie of all time by the time it's done, which is just nuts. And that's the other fun part. We can look at Bombs 2 and find out how much they lost. And I will say this, there is a disclaimer that I have to point out. This formula only works for blockbusters. Movies that cost a fuck ton of money. Like Get Out, it cost only $5 million. But the marketing was probably easily $30 million. So you can't work with the production budget to get a fair estimation. By the way, I'm looking at the numbers here. Ghostbusters, probably about a $30 million loss, the new one.
Wow, okay.
And that's on top of selling, way less tickets. It barely sold more than half of what Ghostbusters 2 did. And Ghostbusters 2 was a bomb when it first came out. Well, not a bomb, but yeah, no, it's crazy, dude.
It wasn't as good as Ghostbusters the first.
It compares really poorly to the first one.
Well, damn. This has been very insightful into the world of movies. It's very different from my original image of what I thought the movie industry was like, which was
Yeah, we can look at a franchise and look at how it's gone downhill. The Maze Runner movies. The budgets keep getting bigger. The grosses keep getting smaller. So we've gone from posting like $150 million profit to the next one about $100 million profit, and then the next one even less, like maybe $80 million profit. And when you're making $80 million profit, that's still really impressive.
Yeah, I was about to say that's still good. It's not as good as 100 million,
Yeah.
200 million,
Or 400 million. What they're really looking for
Yeah,
is something like the first Jurassic World. That is what currently studios are fighting to have. Because the first Jurassic World, I was shocked when I saw the budget for that. Because that cost, 70 million less than the Avengers. And that doesn't seem like anything special. But when you've got a major film with a major cast, with like all these dinosaurs that are supposed to look like they're really there, unlike, a talking raccoon.
right.
And I mean, that movie made $650 million in profit. That's way more than Avengers
That's
or really any
Whoosh.
MCU movie.
That's really good.
Justice League,
Damn.
maybe $30 million profit. That one's weird too, because that one, it's been confirmed. That one did cost $250 million at first, and then they spent probably $30 to $40 million just on reshoots because they knew the movie was a mess. And then it still was a bomb.
Fucking God.
It was still a bomb.
Ah!
It's the lowest grossing movie of the DCEU. It made less than Man of Steel. Your big movie made less than your first movie. That's a topic for another day. We can talk about how fucking screwed they are. But yeah, no. The problem is when you look at the history of like the main films in that franchise, Man of Steel, it made about $110 million profit. So they were like, this isn't good enough. And so they tried to add all of these new characters. They were like, oh my gosh, it's going to hit $1 billion. It cost even more money. It didn't hit $1 billion worldwide. They're like, oh fuck. And then you ended up with a movie that made less than $200 million profit. Meanwhile, the Avengers movies are putting out, $400 million a pop that are going straight to Disney. So then they tried their ass off to make something more like Marvel, and you end up with a $25-30 million profit. But then you look at something like Wonder Woman, which cost half of what Justice League did, ended up making like $200 million more at the box office. Actually, the more that I think about it, I don't think there's not a single DCEU movie that even made like $300 million profit, which is pretty disappointing. I don't think there's ever been a movie that's made $1 billion profit. And I don't know if there ever will be. There will be ones that come close, maybe.
We will
Star Wars
just
is the
have
closest
to wait
ones.
and see.
Star Wars is the closest. That one made about, I'm doing the math in my head, just under $800 million profit. The first episode 7 made just under $800 million profit. And even then, they forced that political agenda with The Last Jedi. People stopped showing up.
Yeah.
And so you go from $800 million profit to like less than 500. Like their profit got slashed in half.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking bad. Jesus. Oh fuck. Did you hear that the Last Jedi got released to like digital DVD recently?
It
Or
did?
whatever the fuck it's called when you can buy it digitally, yeah. I didn't see the ratings myself, but a coworker of mine at work told me that it got released recently, so people could buy it online, and the fucking profit for that was just fucking horrible. Nobody bought it.
That's shit. And if they keep the budgets cheap enough, Look at something like 50 Shades of Grey. That movie made so much money, the original, on such a small budget. Like, it's...
I didn't even know there were 3 of them.
Yes, it's
I
insanity.
thought there were only 2.
No, there
I
was
thought there
another
were
one
only
that came
2
out like
50 Shades.
6 weeks ago. You're not that far behind the curve.
There's 4 now?
No, 3. There's 3. The third one came out recently. There's only
Okay.
gonna be 3. Calm down.
No, yeah.
Here's one that... Because now you've got this, and then it leads to questions of, you can use this to try to figure out whether or not your favorite movie's going to get a sequel. But then you've got things that don't
Okay.
make sense. Like, the first Pacific Rim movie made about $15 million profit. Which isn't a lot.
Okay.
It's barely anything.
Right.
So why they think it's a good idea to put out a sequel almost 5 years later, when nobody cared about the first one, is really confusing and concerning to me. I get the feeling that movie's gonna bomb and
People are
bomb hard.
Maybe they thought that the fucking the other media at the time would make people suddenly realize that, oh, actually, fucking giant mechs and aliens from the ocean are pretty cool. And just
I don't know, man.
you
It just didn't
take
work
your
out in the
chances a
first
second time.
place. I don't know. It's a huge risk, and we'll see next week how it turns out. We can talk about it next week during the episode. I'll talk to you about what happened. I'll let you know. But I just remembered, and I found the one movie that's made $1 billion in profit according to my equation.
Oh shit.
Avatar. That movie was so big back in 2009 that, like, that's the only bigger one.
What are we talking about? What?
What? I can no longer understand.
My internet's really bad right
You know what? I think we might be boring our audience. But they learned something today.
now.
But anyways, good night,
Yeah.
everybody. It's time for sleep.
Yeah, this has been Shit Talks. I'm gonna give my cat a good shit talking because he's still fucking clawing at my door. Oh my god!